Millionaire CEO pretended to be an employee until he fell in love with a desperate young woman. Before we start the story, leave a comment telling us what city you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Luna Bennett held her folder tightly against her chest. No job, no money, and rent overdue. She decided to try the impossible. Hand in her resume at Brightcore without an appointment. She walked into the building and headed straight for the elevator. When the doors opened, a man was already inside, wearing a simple suit and looking down at his phone. She stepped in, pretending to be confident. "Good morning," she said, as she entered. "Good morning," he replied without looking up. Luna pressed the button for the reception floor. The silence felt uncomfortable. He seemed so calm, which made her feel the sudden urge to speak. Maybe from nerves, or maybe just because, well, she tended to talk too much when she felt out of place. "You know, I once read that elevators are like life," she began. "Sometimes you're going up, sometimes down, and sometimes out of nowhere you get stuck in the middle." He looked at her, puzzled, but with a slight smile. "Elevator philosophy, that's a new one. I'm an expert in random metaphors. Actually, I'm here to drop off a resume. No interview or anything. Kind of crazy, right?" Bold. Bold or desperate, hard to tell. If I were HR, I'd hire me just for the guts. Before he could answer, the elevator gave a little jolt and stopped. The lights flickered, the panel froze, everything shut down. "Oh no," Luna muttered, looking up. The man turned pale. He leaned against the wall and closed his eyes, sweating, breathing too fast. "You okay?" He nodded slightly, trying to keep it together. "Claustrophobic?" he confirmed with a tense gesture. Luna stepped closer, gently. "Look at me." "That's it. Breathe in, breathe out. We're getting out of this, okay? And you're not going to die crushed between the 10th and 11th floors. I promise." He laughed, though still out of breath. "Seriously, just imagine the headline, 'Well-dressed man suffocates next to talkative girl who wouldn't stop talking.' Girl saves executive with bad jokes and no filter." "Much better," she replied. "Do you work in comedy?" "No, but maybe I should. Elevator stand-up could be my future." "Good evening, everyone. I'm Luna, and today we'll be stuck between the 3rd and 4th floors until someone remembers we're here." Time passed. She talked about everything. The economy, how companies forget people, how sometimes we just want someone to listen. She even joked about CEOs locked in glass offices like robots. He listened in silence, slowly calming down. "If I could give some advice to one of those suit and tie bosses," she said, "I'd say, smile more. Walk the halls and try to remember the cleaning lady's name." When the elevator finally started moving again, they both felt oddly lighter. The panel lit up, numbers rising, and Luna smiled. See, nothing like a good chat and a shared panic attack to start the day. The doors opened at the reception floor. "It was a pleasure, Adrian," she said, after noticing his name subtly printed on his badge. "Hope the rest of your day runs more smoothly." "Likewise, Luna." She blinked, surprised. "Wait, how do you know my name?" "You said it," he replied, walking out another door before she could ask more. Still a bit stunned, Luna made her way to the front desk. The receptionist gave her a quick, unimpressed look. Her second-hand blazer, worn-out purse, and messy hair all screamed she didn't belong there. "Hi, I came to drop off my resume. I don't have an interview scheduled, but I'd really love a chance," she said with a sincere smile. "We're not hiring at the moment," the receptionist said, taking the paper and setting it aside without much interest. "All right, thanks anyway." Luna walked out, trying to hold on to her dignity. The world outside felt grayer. The sun, hotter, and the weight of helplessness, heavier. Hours later, on the top floor of Brightcore, Adrian Cole stood by the glass window of his office, still thinking about the chatty girl from the elevator. The way she joked about chaos, her honest nature, and most of all, the fact that for 15 minutes he hadn't been a CEO. Just a man stuck between 2 floors. He sat down, picked up the phone, and dialed. "Executive office? This is Cole. Today a woman named Luna dropped off her resume. Hire her. She starts Monday. No excuses." Later, in the small room she shared with her best friend, Luna was browsing job listings on her phone when it rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Good evening. Miss Bennett? This is Brightcore calling. We're reaching out to confirm your hiring. Your start date is scheduled for Monday." "Sorry, what?" "Your paperwork has already been processed. You'll get an email later today with your schedule and department details." "But I haven't even had an interview." It was a decision from upper management. Luna hung up, stunned. "Friend, I got the job." Her friend, who was eating instant noodles, choked. "Wait, what?" "I just went there to drop off my resume. They didn't even let me talk properly, but they called me. I got it." They screamed, hugged, and laughed like it was a miracle, and maybe it was. Meanwhile, high up at Brightcore, a CEO looked out the window at the city with a faint smile, wondering what kind of girl talks that much, and still somehow makes silence feel lighter. Luna was spinning in circles in her room, holding her phone like it might explode at any second. "This is a prank, right? Someone's hiding with a camera. Where are you, hidden camera?" she yelled at the ceiling. "Luna, you're yelling at the light fixture," her friend said, still holding her noodle spoon. "This is unreal. I got hired by Brightcore, one of the biggest companies in the city. I barely stepped through the door." "Technically, you took the elevator," her friend pointed out. "Oh, shut up and celebrate with me." They danced awkwardly around the room. It was one of those wins so unexpected you couldn't even process it. One call, "You start Monday," and just like that, she had a job. Monday came way too fast. Luna got up early, put on her most respectable outfit, the one with no visible lint and a working zipper, and tied her hair in a way that looked professional, or at least neat. On the way to the company, she practiced answers to possible questions. "Why do you think we hired you?" "Because I saved a man from a nervous breakdown in a floating metal box." Maybe not. When she arrived at Brightcore, everything looked brighter than before. The building, the people, even the front desk, now with a new receptionist who, to Luna's relief, was actually smiling. "Hello, Luna Bennett, right?" the receptionist asked. "You can head up. Here's your temporary badge. The strategic creation team is waiting for you." Strategic creation? She almost tripped on the rug. In the elevator, she looked closely at the badge. Her name was there, printed in a nice font and everything. No spelling mistakes. This was really happening. When she got to the right floor, she was greeted by a friendly, very energetic woman named Julia. "You're Luna? Oh, I'm so glad you're here. We've been waiting. Are you settled in? Have you had a moment to breathe? Want some coffee?" No. Coffee, please." "Perfect. Come on, I'll show you your desk." The desk was simple but neat. A computer was already waiting, and a handwritten note. "Welcome, Luna. It'll be fun working with you." She smiled. "Who left this?" "Oh, not sure. Someone on the floor. Maybe Adrian." She froze. "Adrian?" "Yeah, one of the nicest guys here. He's always wandering through all the departments. Kind of a chameleon. But he's smart, fun, a bit mysterious." Luna swallowed hard. "The Adrian from the elevator?" Before she could ask more, she heard a voice behind her. "I thought you'd run off," he said with that same calm tone and the same light blazer. She turned slowly. "Adrian? Hi, you? You work here?" "I do. Looks like you do too. Nice to see you again." She blinked, trying to piece it all together. "You? Work exactly where?" "Oh, a little bit of everywhere. I show up when people need me. Sometimes when they don't," he answered with a small, mysterious smile. "So, you're like a problem solver?" "Something like that." Before she could keep questioning him, Julia came back with the coffee. "Adrian, are you already filling our newbie's head with riddles?" "Just testing her endurance," he said, grabbing a cup for himself. "Luna, if you survive Adrian's jokes, you're already a good fit for the company culture." "Oh, after getting stuck in an elevator with him, nothing scares me now." Adrian coughed into his coffee. Julia laughed. "Don't tell me you were the elevator guy. Let's just say I was saved by a burst of nonstop talking." Luna wanted to crawl into a hole and stay there indefinitely. "That explains a lot," Julia said, smiling. The morning flew by. Luna was warmly welcomed by the team, even though she didn't fully understand how or why. She felt right there. Like for the first time in a long while, she was exactly where she needed to be. Between spreadsheets, presentations, and tossed around ideas, she noticed something interesting. Adrian was everywhere. Meetings, hallways, near the coffee machine. Always around, listening more than speaking, half smiling, like he knew something no one else did. He didn't seem like just another employee. At lunchtime, as she was heading down to the cafeteria with the group, she overheard someone say, "Hey, just a heads up, Mr. Cole is heading up to the creative floor today. Blue shirt as usual. Keep an eye out." "The CEO's coming upstairs?" someone mumbled. Luna frowned. "This CEO guy must be a real pain. I've never even seen a glimpse of him. He's like a mythical creature. Everyone talks about him, but no one's actually seen him. Adrian, who was just a few steps behind, coughed again, this time clearly trying to hold back a laugh. She turned around, suspicious. You're always nearby, Adrian. Let's just say I enjoy watching a good story unfold. She stared at him a little longer. Something about him didn't quite add up, but she chose to save the question for later. For now, she just wanted to enjoy her first day at work, the job that had practically fallen from the sky or the elevator, and try not to say anything else ridiculous in front of people she barely knew, even if one of them seemed suspiciously powerful. On Thursday morning, Luna noticed Adrian was wearing the same light blue shirt for the third day in a row. Either he owned several identical ones, which would be a serious case of lack of variety, or it was just a quirky trait that matched the mystery surrounding him. Do you think he has some kind of secret uniform? She asked Julia as she poured her coffee. Uniform or disguise? With that charm, I'm going with corporate spy, Julia replied with a wink. Luna laughed, but inside her radar kept buzzing. Adrian was everywhere, all the time, and no one seemed to know exactly what he did there. He was like glitter at a kid's party, impossible to ignore. Even so, she didn't expect to see him at the brainstorming meeting for Strategic Creative. The manager walked in with a look that said he was hiding something, which was never a good sign. Today's session will be led by a special guest. Adrian walked in right after, smiling, holding a tablet, and looking more rested than anyone else in the building. Good morning, everyone, he said, stopping in front of the group. I promise this won't be as traumatizing as a performance review. That's what they always say before torturing us with sticky notes, muttered Raphael, the team's sarcastic designer. Adrian gracefully ignored the comment. The task is simple. Create a campaign based on a concept companies love to say but rarely practice. The theme is truth, silence. You'll be working on ideas that explore how brands can be more genuine, more human, less marketing, more reality. And most important, I want honesty in the presentations. No sugarcoating, no Instagram filters. You've got 30 minutes, go. Luna grabbed her notebook with enthusiasm. She loved a good challenge with a bold theme. But she couldn't help sneaking glances at Adrian. He seemed different that day. More focused, more serious. Yet, he still had that slight smile on his face, like he already knew what everyone was going to say. 30 minutes passed like 5. Each team member presented their idea. Some were solid, others creative, and a few sounded like sleepy Friday afternoon pitches. When it was Luna's turn, she stood up. My campaign would be called Stop Pretending. Everyone already knows. The idea is to use sarcasm in favor of authenticity. Show what companies say versus what they actually do. She took a deep breath. For example, we value each employee as an essential part of the whole. And the image? A shared fridge with a wrinkled apple and sticky notes saying, "Don't touch my yogurt." Everyone laughed. Or, we care about our team's well-being. Below that, someone napping in the bathroom with their forehead against the wall. More laughter. The point is to expose the truth in a humorous way, because sometimes laughing at what's wrong is the first step to changing it. Adrian was watching her closely, his smile now a bit more obvious. When she finished, he was the only one who didn't clap. Instead, he said, "You're brave. Is that a good thing?" "It's rare." She sat down, not hiding her smile. That compliment felt more valuable than any evaluation score. After the meeting, Luna went to the break room for some water. She was distracted, thinking about how to improve her idea when she heard footsteps. Adrian leaned against the counter next to her, holding a mug. "Did you have fun today?" "A little. Speaking inconvenient truths out loud is always fun, especially when the audience can't do anything but laugh." "Exactly." He took a sip. "And you, Adrian, have you ever told someone an inconvenient truth?" "Yes, today actually." "Oh yeah, what was it?" "That I think you're brilliant." Luna nearly choked on her water. "Was that a pickup line?" "No, just an honest observation. But if you want, I can try a bad pickup line so you can compare." "No, please, spare me." "All right. Then I'll keep being honest. You intrigue me, Luna. Since the elevator, since the way you speak your mind without a filter, without fear. I don't see that much around here." She looked at him, and for the first time she realized his gaze wasn't just curious, it was interested. There was something there. Something that went beyond teamwork. beyond professional respect. Do you always compliment people like that, or just me? Only when it's deserved. Silence fell between them, but not the awkward kind. It was the kind of silence that makes everything feel clearer. You know what I find strange? Luna said, breaking the moment. What? The fact that you show up everywhere like a recurring character in my week. It's like my life is a show and you're the secret main character. What if I told you I like being around? I'd say that's suspicious. And what if I said it's true? She looked straight at him. Then, prove it. He set down his mug, took a step closer, and gently reached for her face. Her breath caught. Time stood still. Everything paused, and he kissed her. It wasn't a dramatic movie-style kiss. It was simple, real, with a hint of lukewarm coffee and a racing heartbeat, a kiss that said, "I'm here," without using any words. When they pulled back, Luna still had her eyes closed. Okay, that was unexpected. Was it? A little, and good or bad? Good, but you're still suspicious. Then give me time to prove otherwise. She laughed. Her cheeks were flushed. She felt happy, confused, and strangely comfortable with all of it. The next day, Luna arrived at work with a fluttering heart and a head full of questions. She didn't quite know what it all meant. If it was a beginning, a coincidence, or just something good in an unexpected moment. Adrian didn't show up that morning. She found it odd. Maybe he was trying to avoid turning the kiss into a topic. At lunchtime, she went to the cafeteria alone, got her food, sat in a corner, and soon heard footsteps behind her. This seat taken? She turned. It was him, with a small smile and 2 sodas in hand. You disappeared today. Had meetings, but I was thinking about you the whole time. She tried to hide her smile, failed miserably. And what did you think? That you're more dangerous than I thought. Me? You throw me off. That never happens. Welcome to my world, she said, taking the soda. I've been off balance since the elevator. They looked at each other, and suddenly the noisy cafeteria didn't matter, nor the curious glances, nor the fact that it was a place where no one usually got involved with anyone. This is really happening, isn't it? She asked, almost in a whisper. It is, and it's the best thing that's happened to me here. She laughed. So, what do we do now? We live. Carefully, patiently, and with more kisses, if you'll let me. I'll let you. And there, among trays and napkins, Luna realized that maybe, just maybe, the truth was more surprising than she had imagined. The morning after the kiss, Luna woke up with a ridiculous smile on her face. And it wasn't because she slept well. Because she didn't. She spent most of the night tossing in bed, laughing to herself, and replaying the moment Adrian kissed her. That kiss had turned everything upside down. Her thoughts, her focus, her sense of professional boundaries. I kissed Adrian, she said out loud as if trying to convince herself. I heard, Anna replied from the bathroom, toothbrush in her mouth. You've said that 4 times since you woke up. Luna pulled the blanket over her head. This is crazy. Now what? Now you breathe, have your coffee, and go to work like you didn't just kiss the company's most handsome, mysterious, and sought-after coworker. I'm in trouble. You're in love. That's even worse. At the office, Luna tried her best to act normal, which was a total disaster, since she was never exactly good at pretending. With every step she glanced around for Adrian, hoping for some kind of secret signal. A longer than usual hi, a coffee with a note, anything. But by mid-morning, nothing. Where's Mr. Mysterious? Whispered Julia as they passed by the break room, probably avoiding eye contact. Maybe he came to his senses and realized he got involved with an employee without health insurance. Or maybe he's planning the next kiss like a military operation. Luna blushed just at the thought. At lunchtime, she decided to go down alone. She needed some air and fries, or to fry her feelings, as she liked to say. She was busy with the ketchup when someone pulled out the chair next to her. Guess who got a 30-minute break? She nearly dropped her tray. Adrian? Present. He had his blazer slung over his shoulders and a smile that threw her heart rhythm off completely. I thought you were avoiding me. I thought about it, but then I remembered I'm terrible at running away. I always end up coming back. Luna looked around. No one seemed to be paying attention. Is this a date? Only if you want it to be. And if it is, then I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. She bit her lip. He reached out and took a fry from her plate. Bold move. I call it a strategic approach. You're impossible, and you're irresistible. They laughed. It was light, easy, like they were dancing on invisible ground where none of the office rules applied. "Adrian," she said after a few minutes, "what exactly do you do at this company?" He paused for half a second. "You want to know my job title? I want to know who you really are." He smiled, but this time the smile was guarded. "Let's just say I'm someone who's curious. I like moving between departments, seeing things from a different angle. You talk like someone who knows more than they should, and you talk like someone who's about to find out more than they expected." She looked at him, but before she could press further, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the message and made a slight face. "I have to go upstairs." "A meeting?" "Something like that. You always disappear out of nowhere, and I always come back. Is that a promise?" "It's the best I can offer for now." He leaned in, close to her ear. "But I want to offer more." Then he left, as if he hadn't just turned her world upside down with one sentence and a glance. Let's play a little game for anyone reading the comments. Type pizza in the comments. Only those who made it this far will understand. Now, back to the story. Hours later, near the end of the workday, Luna decided to drop off the printed reports at the executive floor. Just one floor up. Easy. Simple. Harmless. She stepped into the elevator, fixed her hair using the reflection in the doors, and tried not to think about Adrian. When she reached the floor, she looked for the meeting room listed on the paper. She knocked on the slightly open door and stepped in quietly. The room was full, and in the back, standing and speaking about innovation and leadership, was him. Adrian. But not Adrian with the casual shirt and cryptic comments. It was Adrian Cole, wearing a badge, holding a title, standing out. On the screen behind him, it read in bold letters, Adrian Cole, CEO of Brightcore. Luna froze. He stopped speaking when he saw her. Her eyes widened. She swallowed hard, took a step back, then left the room like someone fleeing from an emotional fire. The world was spinning, and suddenly everything made far too much sense. Adrian, the CEO, the man she thought was just a curious, mysterious, and incredibly charming employee, was actually the one in charge of it all. No, she whispered inside the elevator. This can't be real. But it was, and suddenly, the kiss, the looks, the coffees, all seemed part of something much bigger. Too big, and far too real. Later that evening, back at home, Luna couldn't stop thinking about the scene in the meeting room. Adrian, or rather, Adrian Cole, standing there talking about innovation like he wasn't the same man who had stolen fries off her plate just days before. So mysterious Adrian was the boss all along, Anna said. And here I was thinking he was just a quirky analyst with a badge allergy, Luna replied, flopping onto the couch. You kissed the CEO. Anna, for heaven's sake, don't say that out loud. Sorry, but you kissed the CEO. Luna threw a pillow at her. The next morning, Luna avoided the break room. She avoided the elevators. She even avoided walking near the executive floor. She had spent the night rehearsing speeches in front of the mirror. Some were cold and direct, others dramatic and sarcastic. In none of them did Adrian respond the way she hoped. When the clock hit noon, she tried to sneak out to lunch 5 minutes early to avoid the crowd, but no luck. As soon as she stepped into the cafeteria, she saw him. He was already there, sitting at one of the corner tables, with 2 bottles of water on the table, a silent attempt at peace. She thought about pretending not to see him, but that wasn't who she was. Luna walked over, heart pounding, thoughts racing. Can I sit? She asked coldly. Please. She sat down slowly, keeping enough distance to make it clear that things were anything but friendly. So, CEO, she said, folding her arms. Adrian sighed. Luna? You let me believe you were just another employee. A curious one. A guy who popped up out of nowhere but had good taste in coffee. I know. And even after the kiss, you stayed quiet. I was going to tell you. I swear. I just didn't know how to do it without sounding like I was trying to manipulate you. At this point, it sounds exactly like that. He looked down for a moment. When he looked at her again, he seemed more vulnerable than ever. You have every right to be upset. And hurt. I just wanted a little time to experience something real. Without my name getting in the way of everything. You pulled it off, didn't you? For a few days, you were just Adrian, the guy I felt comfortable around, the one who made me laugh, who understood me, but all of that, it was based on a lie. It wasn't a lie, Luna. It was real. I just kept part of it from you, out of fear. Because when I'm with you, I'm not the CEO, I'm just me. She took a deep breath, crossing her arms on the table. That doesn't erase the fact that you hid it and put me in an awkward position. You had power over everything, and I didn't even know who you really were. I understand. That's why I'm here. No badge, no ready-made excuses. Just hoping for a chance to talk, outside of this place. Tonight, please. She looked at him. There was truth in his eyes, regret too, but inside she was still unsure. I'm not saying I'm ready to forgive you today, she said. I'm not asking for that today. But I'll talk to you, after work, somewhere we're not the CEO and the employee. Deal. The rest of the afternoon felt strange. Adrian disappeared. Literally, no one saw him in the halls or meeting rooms. Maybe he was giving her space, or maybe getting ready for the most tense conversation of his life. Luna, on the other hand, could barely type. Every time she saw his name pop up in the company system, her stomach turned. At 5:45, she sent her last email and shut down her computer. At exactly 6, a message popped up on her phone. I'll be at the main entrance. If you change your mind, that's okay. But if you want to hear me out, I'm here. She stared at the screen for a few seconds, then grabbed her bag, took a deep breath, and walked out. Adrian was waiting by a modest car, which was already unexpected given his title. No suit, no fancy watch, just him, in that same light blue shirt as always. Ready? Not yet, but let's go. The drive to the restaurant was quiet. Not an awkward silence, but the kind that gives you space to breathe. Adrian drove with one hand on the wheel, eyes focused on the road. Luna, in the passenger seat, watched the city through the windows, like it was the first time she'd seen that part of town. The radio played soft instrumental music. Nothing special, but just enough to keep her thoughts from getting too loud. You don't listen to music with lyrics? She asked, breaking the silence. With lyrics, I start thinking. Without them, I can just listen. She gave a short laugh. Adrian smiled faintly. I knew you had lines ready to go. I have a stash. You can use them whenever you want. I'll think about it. The restaurant was small and cozy, with warm lights hanging over rustic wooden tables. Nothing fancy, nothing corporate, no chance of running into anyone from Brightcore. The kind of place where no one cared about titles, reports, or quarterly goals. They sat in a quiet corner by the window. A friendly waiter brought 2 menus and disappeared. Luna flipped through the pages without really looking. Do you come here often? Whenever I need to remind myself I'm not just a name on a glass door. She nodded slowly. Fair enough. I usually go to this 24-hour laundromat that has an old couch and a soda vending machine. Not for the laundry, just for the peace. You and I have unusual tastes. She placed the menu down. You know what still bothers me, Adrian? Tell me. It's not just the fact that you're the CEO. It's that you heard me badmouth the CEO and said nothing. He bit his lip, holding back a laugh. You were right about almost everything you said, to be honest. Don't compliment me just to dodge the issue. I'm not dodging. I really admired how bold you were. It reminded me of who I was before the title. I liked being treated like a regular guy. I needed that. So I was just your tool for that? No. You were. You. Luna crossed her arms on the table. I felt embarrassed, like I'd exposed too much. I felt ridiculous when I saw your name on that screen. And I felt seen for the first time in months. The waiter came back. They ordered quickly. Luna picked a dish she didn't know just because the name made her smile. Adrian went with a classic. While they waited, she leaned back in her chair and looked out the window. Outside, the city was loud and alive, but inside it felt like time had slowed down. Why me? She asked, turning to face him. Out of so many people, people who know the market, investments, analysis, why pay attention to me? Because you're the only one who made me forget I have to be someone. She went silent. That wasn't the answer she was expecting, and she didn't know what to say after that. So what now? She asked, for the 3rd time in the past few days. Now we start over, he said. If you're willing. How? We're choosing a new starting point, a place where no one's a CEO, no one's an assistant, just 2 people trying not to mess up something good. She looked into his eyes for a moment. They didn't seem mysterious anymore, just honest. Maybe a little tired, but real. Okay, she said slowly. Then let's make a deal. From now on, you tell me everything. No beating around the bush, no elevator metaphors, just the truth. Deal. And I'll try? not to run away. Deal? Dinner arrived, and with it, a lightness Luna thought she had lost. They ate, laughed, and shared embarrassing stories from past jobs. Adrian told her about the time he spilled coffee on a minister at a conference. Luna topped that with the story of when she mistook a priest for the bank manager and asked for a spiritual loan. Later, they walked to the car in silence. This time, the silence felt easy, comfortable. Adrian opened the door for her, and before getting in, Luna paused and looked at him. "Are you still willing to just be Adrian with me? Only if you'll just be Luna with me," she smiled. "I've never been anything else." He stepped closer, slowly. Her heart was beating fast, but there was no rush. When he kissed her, it was nothing like the kiss at the office. There was no surprise, no doubt, just choice. And right there, on some random sidewalk next to a tucked-away restaurant, Luna understood. Maybe what started out as a mistake was exactly the right thing she didn't know she needed. The week finally felt like it was back on track. Luna and Adrian started talking more naturally again. They exchanged knowing looks in the halls, and even though they kept things quiet, there was an unspoken agreement between them. A silent understanding that said, "We're trying." "So now you two are a sort of secret couple?" Anna asked as she served pancakes onto her plate. "A semi-official couple with a confidentiality clause," Luna replied, sitting down at the table. "I'm not sure if I should be happy or worried." "Be both. I am too." At Brightcore, the rumors had quieted down. HR hadn't called Luna again, and Adrian kept a public distance to avoid more gossip. But how do you hide something that feels real even when no one's talking about it? On Tuesday afternoon, while Luna was sorting reports in the creative room, she overheard something she wasn't ready to hear. "Did you see the spreadsheet for the new opening on the branding team?" Yulia whispered to Carol. "I did. Guess who they're considering for the role?" Luna. "Really? And guess who got that approved directly with the board?" Adrian Cole. Luna stopped typing. Her face felt hot. The position was highly sought after, and even though she'd been doing well, she never applied. She hadn't even been told about it. And now, they were saying he was pushing it behind the scenes? She sat there for a few seconds, letting it sink in. Then she got up and left without saying a word. Adrian was alone in the 10th floor conference room, finishing up a contract when the door swung open. "Can we talk?" Luna asked, straight to the point. He looked surprised but nodded. "Of course. What's going on?" She walked in and closed the door behind her. "Did you recommend me for the branding position?" He hesitated. "Yes, I did. You've got real talent, Luna, and the role needs creativity, vision, and was that before or after you decided it was a good idea to get involved with me?" "That has nothing to do with this. It has everything to do with this, Adrian. You're mixing things up, and from the outside it looks like I'm being given special treatment. Do you really think I'd do that out of pity, or just because we're getting to know each other? I think you don't realize how exposed this makes me feel. I'm trying to earn my place, my way, and now everything feels tainted. I just wanted to give you a real opportunity. What you bring here is above average, you know that, and now no one else will believe it." Silence. Adrian stood up. "Then tell me what I should do. Ignore your talent? Pretend I don't see your potential? I'm your boss, but I'm also someone who wants what's best for you. This isn't a game, Luna, but it feels like one, like a chess move, and I'm the piece that doesn't know if it's being played or thrown away." Her throat tightened. She didn't want to cry. Not here. Not in front of him. "Luna, I'm trying to balance everything, but maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe we're going too fast. Do you want to stop?" She swallowed hard. "I want to think," and left. That night, Luna came home exhausted. Anna was watching TV, but turned it off the moment she saw her. "Something happened. We had a fight. You and Adrian? I heard he put my name in for an important position, without telling me, and now I feel like some kind of emotional lab experiment. I get involved with him, and suddenly my name's moving up. How do I prove it's not because of him?" Anna came over and sat next to her on the couch. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone, Luna. You just need to be sure that what you want is truly yours, because if it is, no one can take it away." Luna sighed. "Sometimes I just wish he were only Adrian from the elevator. Nothing more. But he's not, and you're not just the girl who came in to drop off a resume anymore either." The next morning, Luna went to work as usual. But Adrian didn't show up. She didn't get a message, didn't see his car in the parking lot, nothing. She pretended not to care. At 3 p.m. an email arrived. Subject, temporary replacement. CEO Adrian Cole will be out for 2 days due to external commitments. In his absence, all operational decisions will be reviewed by the board. Luna closed the email, and at that moment, she felt the weight of the emptiness. Later, when she left the building, she found a small box on the back seat of her car. She recognized the handwriting on the note taped to the lid. Just a reminder that before I was CEO, I was just a guy in an elevator. Inside was a keychain shaped like an elevator, with 2 little metal figures inside. She held it gently, and didn't know whether to smile or cry. The second day, without Adrian, felt even longer than the first. Luna arrived early, as always, but something about the office felt different. His absence was like a sound you don't notice until it stops. A quiet space no one dared to fill. She tried to stick to her routine. Work. Answer emails. Avoid the flood of thoughts threatening to overflow. But it was impossible to ignore all the eyes on her. Even Julia, who never paid attention to gossip, now seemed to hesitate before starting a conversation. "Are you okay?" she asked, leaning on the edge of Luna's cubicle. "I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be? I don't know. You seem a little closed off." Luna forced a smile. "Maybe I'm just saving my energy. It's only Tuesday, and I already feel like I've lived a month's worth of emotions." Julia laughed, but something in her eyes held back. A quiet curiosity, like she was waiting for Luna to confess something. And that made Luna even more uneasy. In the 8th floor meeting room, Luna was called in for a chat with 2 board directors. "We just want to hear from you," one said, adjusting his glasses. "Learn about your experience with the company. See if there's anything you'd like to share." She knew what this was really about. It wasn't her experience. It was about her being too close to the CEO. "Everything's fine, thank you," she answered politely. "The branding position has been put on hold," the other one added casually. Luna nodded, keeping her expression steady. "I heard. It was a unanimous decision. But if new opportunities come up, we'd like to know if you're still interested in growing with the company." Interested in growing on my own, or with help from the top, she wanted to ask, but she said nothing. "Of course. I'm here to work, above all else." "Great. You can count on us." She left the room with shaky legs. The knot in her chest tightened, but the smile on her face remained untouched. At the end of the day, Anna called just as Luna was waiting for the elevator. "So, did he show up?" "No. And the position he had recommended me for got canceled." "Coincidence? I don't think so." "Me neither. But you know what's worse?" "What?" "I'm mad at him for it, and at the same time, I miss him." Anna sighed on the other end of the line. "That's what we call advanced stage emotional confusion." "Sounds accurate? You know what you need? A tranquilizer dart? A bit of distraction, and you're getting some tomorrow night." "What did you do?" "I signed us up for that gallery event, the urban photography one. There'll be free wine and people who don't talk about spreadsheets." "Free wine and art? I'm in." On Wednesday, the office got an unexpected visitor. "This is Thomas," Julia announced, introducing a tall man with an easy smile and a direct gaze. "He'll be with us for a month, sharing experiences between Brightcore locations. He's from the Chicago branch." "Thomas, this is Luna, the most creative mind on the team." He shook her hand firmly, flashing a smile far too charming for someone who had just arrived. "Luna, beautiful name. I hope we get to work together during these weeks." "Me too," she replied kindly, though her eyes were still fixed on the empty spot where Adrian used to show up. By the end of the day, Thomas had proven to be just as efficient as he was charming. In just a few hours, he had already learned the team's system, won over the front desk staff, and received 3 compliments from the communications director, something Luna had only managed after 2 months. "Wow," Julia said. "If this guy keeps it up, he'll get promoted before we even finish the campaign." Luna laughed, but she wasn't exactly at ease. There was something about Thomas that kept her on alert. He was too good, too confident, and worse, he seemed to know more than he let on. "You're close to Adrian, right?" he asked during a break in the kitchen. She stopped stirring her coffee. "Why? I just thought it was interesting. You changed when I mentioned his name, and I heard some rumors." "Rumors are great for people who like wasting time." "I don't like wasting time. That's why I'm asking directly." She looked at him, serious. "I'm a professional, and I hope you are too." He raised his hands like he was backing off. "Fair enough. I just thought we might understand each other better." Luna finished her coffee and left the room without another word. That evening, the gallery event felt like a different world. Soft lighting, people dressed too stylishly to seem real, and Anna looking stunning in a fitted black dress that made half the guests turn their heads. Luna wore jeans, a dress shirt, and a darker lipstick than usual, the kind of detail only someone paying close attention would notice. "See? This is life. No HR, no emails, no reports. Just wine and pretending to be intellectual." Exactly. As they looked at a wall of black and white photos of spiral staircases, Luna felt someone approaching. "Hope you two didn't start without me." She turned. "Adrian." He wore a simple leather jacket, an open color shirt, and a subtle smile that couldn't quite hide how tired he looked. His eyes found hers instantly. Anna stepped away gracefully, leaving them alone in front of a photo that looked like a reflection of the confusion Luna felt inside. "I thought you were still on leave," she said with a touch of irony. "I was, but I got tired of staying away." "How convenient. I came because I heard you'd be here." "And why does that matter?" He hesitated before answering. "Because I couldn't go one more day without saying what I need to say." Luna crossed her arms. "Say it." "I messed up. Again. Trying to do the right thing the wrong way. I wanted to protect you and I pushed you away. I wanted to help you, and I ended up exposing you. But it wasn't out of carelessness. It's because I'm trying to figure out how to be myself, with you." She didn't say anything. "And what if I don't want to figure it out anymore?" He looked her in the eyes. "Then I'll accept that. But if there's still any part of you that wants to try, I'll be here, even if it's from the outside." The ambient noise muffled their breathing. But in that moment, the world felt too quiet. "You can't make promises," she said, "but I can make choices, and I'm choosing you, even if you don't choose me right now." She looked away. There were so many questions inside her that couldn't fit into a single conversation. But there was also a feeling she couldn't ignore. One wrong step, she whispered, could ruin everything. Or it could lead to a new path. They stood there, in silence, in front of the image of a staircase that led nowhere. And still, something inside her said that maybe, just maybe, the first step was right there. That night, after the gallery, Luna went home without saying a word. Anna, who knew her silences like pages in a well-read book, didn't ask anything. She just made tea, set it in Luna's lap, and sat beside her, watching a movie neither of them really paid attention to. There are things words can't explain. And Luna wasn't sure if what she felt was pain, or just the weight of a decision she hadn't yet made. Adrian had confronted her with a vulnerability she hadn't expected. He'd let himself be seen, without defenses. But that didn't erase the fact that the world around them was still the same, full of judgment, rules, and how easily people twist things they don't understand. The next morning, Luna woke up before her alarm. The sky was still gray when she left the house, and the walk to Brightcore felt longer than usual. She knew Adrian was coming back to the office that day, and she also knew things wouldn't be the same anymore. What they had shared, once light and full of possibilities, now felt like a tightrope stretched between two extremes, what they could be, and what the world would allow them to be. "Morning," Julia said as Luna passed by the kitchen. "Morning. You okay?" "I'm trying to be. Heard the CEO's back today. The upper floors feel tense. Word is, the board had an emergency meeting. You think that has anything to do with?" "So what is everyone whispering about in the hallways?" Of course, Luna gripped her bag strap a little tighter. At 10 a.m., Adrian reappeared, not with the same casual posture as before, but with the look of someone who knew he was being watched from every angle. He gave Luna a small wave when he saw her from afar, but didn't come closer. They had become public strangers, too close to be ignored, too distant to pretend nothing had happened. At lunchtime, Luna chose not to go downstairs. She ordered something through an app and stayed in the empty meeting room, eating in silence, until someone knocked on the door. She turned. It was Thomas. "Sorry to interrupt," he said, coming in with a small sushi box in hand. "I heard you were having lunch here. Thought it might be nice to have some company." She hesitated, then nodded. "Come on in." Thomas sat across from her. I know things have been a little strange around here. You can feel it in the air. You pick up on things quickly. Field training. The Chicago branch is a battlefield disguised as a company. Luna chuckled, even though she didn't mean to. At least you've got a sense of humor. And a good ear. You don't have to tell me anything, but if you feel like talking, I'm here. I promise I'm not the type to turn a private talk into gossip. She looked at him more closely. Why do you care? Because I was once the center of a scandal that never happened, and I know how that changes everything, he said, picking up a piece of sushi with his chopsticks. Someone accused you of something? Favoritism. Getting involved with someone from the board. All because I was close to a manager who was teaching me everything. In the end, she was married, and I was just working hard. But the company didn't want to hear the hard part. They just wanted the noise to stop. Luna stayed quiet. For the first time, she saw something in Thomas beyond friendliness, a shared kind of pain. And how did you handle it? I asked for a transfer, started over. That's brave, painful, but necessary. They ate quietly for a few minutes. Just don't shut yourself off, he said, standing up. People will talk no matter what, but you're more than what they're saying. Luna thanked him with a glance. That afternoon, Adrian showed up in the creative room. Not like before, with his relaxed attitude and subtle jokes. But, like the CEO, serious, holding folders, focused on work. He asked to gather the team. I need you to review the new campaign materials by Friday, he said firmly. We're close to closing a deal with a major tech company, and this presentation needs to be perfect. Everyone nodded. But when Adrian looked at Luna, just for a second, it was as if he was saying, I'm still here, but I don't know for how long. At the end of the day, Luna was called back to HR. Luna, the manager said with the same polite voice as always, this is just an advance notice that the board has opened an internal investigation. Standard procedure. It's not personal. Investigation? Yes. To ensure there hasn't been any ethical misconduct in the past few months. Because of me? The woman hesitated. You're at the center of an unusual situation, and the committee needs to determine whether there was any improper influence on internal processes. I see. She walked out of the room with shaky legs. She needed some air. She went up to the building's terrace, where the wind felt colder than usual. Adrian showed up 5 minutes later. They told me you were called in. They've put me in the middle of an investigation. Is that what you meant when you said you'd stand up for us? Luna, I'm not a piece in your game, Adrian. I'm not the girl you rescue in an elevator just to throw into the fire later. You're not in the fire because of me. You're in it because the system doesn't know how to handle someone who challenges the natural order. That doesn't make me feel any better. He stepped closer. I'm trying to fight this with you, but sometimes it feels like I'm fighting alone. Then, tell me what to do. Let me think. She left without saying another word. That night, Luna got home late. Anna was in her pajamas, eating cereal straight from the box. You look worse than I do on the last day of the month, she said. I'm in the middle of an official investigation. Because of Adrian. Anna stopped chewing. Are they pressuring you? They want me to quit, and are you going to? Luna didn't answer. She went to her room and locked the door, sat on the edge of the bed and opened her laptop. She checked her email. A new sender. asuntos.internos@brightcore.org. Dear Luna Bennett, we inform you that during the next 7 business days, your routine will be monitored by an internal observer, according to conduct audit protocol. Your cooperation is essential to complete this process fairly. Thank you for your understanding. She closed the laptop. That was it. She was being watched. For something that had barely started. For something that maybe didn't even have a name yet. The next morning, when Luna arrived at the office, she found a man sitting at the reception desk. Gray hair, straight posture, tablet in hand. As she walked past, he stood up. Miss Bennett? Yes? My name is Henry. I'm the audit observer. I'll be following your routine for the next few days. No interference, just observation. All right, if you'd rather pretend I'm not here, it'll make things easier. Luna nodded, trying to swallow her discomfort. As you wish. She spent the rest of the day feeling like every step she took was being watched. Every keystroke, every glance. Julia noticed the tension. Who's the detective at reception? someone who's about to take away the last bit of peace I had left. At the end of the day, Adrian was waiting for her in the parking lot. Can I give you a ride? Not today. Can I see you tomorrow? I'm not sure. Can I ask you not to give up on us? She looked him in the eye, and in that moment she felt more than just hurt. She felt afraid. Don't ask me for anything today, Adrian, and she got into the rideshare car without looking back. That night, she dreamed she was trapped alone in an elevator, but this time no one came to rescue her. By now, Henry's presence in the office no longer caused curiosity. In less than 3 days, he had become part of the furniture. Quiet, discreet, but always there. Watching everything, like a mirror that doesn't judge but doesn't lie either. Luna tried to focus on work, but her attention dissolved among reports, unanswered messages, and the constant gaze of the observer. Has he ever smiled at you? Yulia asked, trying to lighten the mood as she worked on the presentation system. Henry? Not once. I'm starting to think he's an AI in a suit. Maybe he is. They're getting more realistic every day. Luna laughed, even if she didn't feel like it, and turned her eyes back to the screen. She had barely spoken to Adrian since the gallery night. They exchanged strictly professional emails, a revised attachment, a deadline extended, a thanks for the delivery. Nothing beyond that. But inside, everything was screaming. Let's play a game for those who only read the comments. Type Coca-Cola in the comments. Only the ones who read this far will get it. Now let's continue with the story. On Thursday morning, Luna was called into the conduct committee room. This time, there were more people. A company lawyer, 2 board members, and in the corner, Henry. No tablet, just watching. Miss Bennett, the compliance director, began. This meeting is part of the final phase of the process. We need to review a few sensitive points regarding communication between you and the CEO over the last 90 days. Luna nodded, trying to appear steadier than she felt. How would you describe your relationship with Mr. Cole during this period? She thought for 2 seconds. Just 2. Polite, professional. Do you deny there was a personal relationship? I don't deny it, but I don't think that's the point. And what would the point be then? What I do here, what I deliver, the campaigns I helped build, the materials I signed off on, the recognition I earned before I even knew who he really was. Silence. We received an anonymous email, the director continued, claiming you had access to strategic company decisions before other employees. That you were given special treatment. Luna frowned. An anonymous email can say anything. I didn't have access to anything outside the scope of my job. There are records of meetings with him after hours. And there are coffee breaks with coworkers during lunch. Does that count as favoritism? The director crossed her arms. So you're saying the relationship didn't affect internal decisions? I'm saying the relationship happened in spite of the environment, not because of it. Henry took a note for the first time. That afternoon, Adrian appeared in the creative room. Not to speak with Luna, but to request a review of the new product presentation. He was direct with everyone. And with her, as always, polite, distant, impeccable. Thomas noticed. Is he testing you? I don't know. Seems like he wants to see if you'll still fall apart. Luna looked at the screen at the blinking logo in the corner of the presentation. I'm trying to figure out if I even want to keep solving this puzzle. On Friday, Anna showed up at work with a cup of coffee and an invitation in hand. I figured you might need this. Coffee? Moral support, but also this, she said, handing her a folded flyer. Launch event at the new neighborhood gallery. Modern art exhibit, live music, and get this, gourmet snacks. Luna took the flyer. You think this will fix anything? No. But it's a distraction, and sometimes distraction is all we need just to be able to breathe again. Luna thought about it and decided to say yes. The exhibit was colorful, chaotic, and completely unexpected. Some paintings looked like smudges, and the sculptures looked like nothing. But everything there was vibrant, and for some reason, comforting. Luna and Anna were looking at a blinking light installation when they heard a quiet voice behind them. I know that name, someone said. They turned around. It was a woman in her early 30s, with red hair tied in a bun and glasses hanging from the neckline of her blouse. You're Luna, right? Luna Bennett? Yes, why? I'm Emily, she said, reaching out her hand. I used to work at Brightcore. I was in the innovation department. Really? Yes. I was there for 2 years. I left at the beginning of the year. Anna, curious, stepped closer. Did you know Adrian? Emily laughed. Who doesn't? But yes, personally. I worked directly with him. And what was he like? She paused. Complicated. He's brilliant, but very private. When he gets close to someone, it's because it really matters. Adrian doesn't open up emotionally for no reason. And you? We were friends, but I think he was still carrying too much on his shoulders. He never managed to let himself fully open up. Luna listened in silence. But if he did that with you, Emily went on, then you're different. On Saturday, Luna woke up to the phone ringing. An unknown number. Hello? Miss Luna? This is the front desk at Brightcore. Mr. Cole left something for you in the lobby. He said he didn't want anyone else to bring it. She got dressed quickly and went there. When she arrived, she found a simple box with a light blue ribbon. No sender. No note. Inside were 3 things: a printed copy of a campaign project they had created together in the first few weeks, a photo of them laughing in the hallway of the creative department, one she didn't even know existed, and finally, a blank sheet of paper. And below it a handwritten line, to write what comes next, if you still want to. She stood there, frozen, with the box in her lap and her heart in her throat. On Monday, the committee called her in for a final meeting. Miss Bennett, we reviewed all the documents, conversations, and interactions. We found no clear violation of conduct, but we do advise caution moving forward. Thank you. And regarding your position, the spot in branding has been reopened, and now it will be based on merit. Your name will be evaluated with the others. Luna thanked them, but this time without fear. Without anxiety. When she left the room, she saw Adrian at the end of the hallway. He saw her too. And this time he walked toward her. Can I walk you out? Sure. They walked side by side without hurry, as if they had all the time in the world. I saw you left a box for me. I noticed I didn't get a reply. I'm still writing. That means that I'm ready to stop running. He stopped. She stopped. I can't promise it'll be easy, he said. I don't want easy. I want real. He smiled. Then let's go. Where to? Wherever. Just with me. And she went. Not because she was sure, but because she was finally free from the fear of getting it wrong. Owning your truth wasn't a single act. It was a process. Luna learned that firsthand when, on Monday morning, she arrived at Brightcore holding Adrian's hand. There was no announcement, no memo, no formal email. But all it took was the 2 of them walking through the lobby together for the domino effect to start. Oh my, one of the project assistants whispered when she saw them. So it was true? Someone murmured in the elevator. Luna worked hard to keep her face calm. She knew that first walk would be the hardest. But Adrian, beside her, walked like a man with nothing left to hide. And that helped. A lot. When they entered the boardroom for the first meeting of the day, the room was quieter than usual. Adrian walked to the main table. Luna headed toward her usual corner, but he gestured for her to come closer. You're presenting with me today, he said, just loud enough for her to hear. She hesitated for a second, then walked to his side. The meeting was about Brightcore's new partnership with a global tech network. Luna and Adrian had worked on the campaign concept behind the scenes since day one. It was a big project, the kind that could shape the company's direction for the next 2 years. All the creative work here is from Luna Bennett, Adrian said when it was time to present. I was just there, watching it come to life. She took a deep breath and spoke, not about them, but about what she had built with hard work, with ideas, with courage. With every slide, the room seemed to forget the rumors and start seeing what truly mattered, her talent. When she finished, they applauded. Adrian gently touched her hand, just out of sight from the others, and smiled. Saying I'm proud doesn't even come close, he said. She smiled back. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel torn between her professional and personal life. She felt whole. At lunchtime, they went to the cafeteria together. On purpose. They sat at their usual table, where they used to pretend to be just co-workers. Julia walked over with a big smile and curious eyes. Well, so it's official? Official, Luna said, picking up a French fry. You 2 took longer than a Netflix series to reveal the ending, but it was worth the wait. Adrian laughed. We're working on the spin-off now. With less drama, I hope, Julia joked, then headed off to get her food. Thomas came by a little later. He stopped by the table, holding an iced tea. Congratulations, Luna, on the presentation, and on the two of you. Thank you, she replied, surprised by his sincerity. He's a lucky guy, he said, glancing briefly at Adrian, even with all the risks. I know, Adrian answered, steady. Thomas nodded and walked away. Luna watched as he left. He still has feelings for you, Adrian said without bitterness. I know, but there was never space for that. Adrian didn't reply, but he held her hand under the table. That afternoon, Luna was called to the communications director's office. It was her first time there since the investigation ended. Luna, have a seat, the woman said with a slight smile. The campaign was a success. The company is about to close the deal, and you are a key part of that process. I'm really happy to hear that. And because of that, I want to invite you to something. Luna leaned in, paying attention. We're creating a separate creative unit for special projects, something bolder with more aesthetic and strategic freedom, and we want you to lead it. Luna blinked. Lead? Yes, with full autonomy. You'd have a small team, flexible goals, and freedom to experiment. It's a risk, but a good kind. She paused for a few seconds. I accept. That's wonderful. I just have one condition. What is it? That my position, my role, and my ideas are never tied to a relationship. That what I do is always seen for what it is, my work. The director smiled. They already are. At the end of the day, Luna and Adrian left the building together. It was an ordinary Tuesday, but for them, it felt like the first day of something new, something light, no secrets. I have a surprise, Adrian said as they got into the car. If it's another elevator, I'm out. Better, much better. They drove for 30 minutes to a quieter part of town, a residential neighborhood, peaceful, with tree-lined streets and renovated old homes. He stopped in front of a charming building with a brick facade and large windows. What is this? Our future creative office, Luna frowned. Ours? I bought the place. It's small, but full of potential. I want to turn it into an extension of Brightcore, but with a new approach, a space where ideas can grow without going through 10 levels of approval. And you want me to be part of it? I want you to lead it, your way. This is unreal. This is us, Luna. No filters, no hiding, just freedom. She hugged him right there, on the sidewalk. Thank you for believing in me. I never had a doubt. That night, they went home and cooked together. Adrian found out he was terrible with garlic. Luna discovered he danced while stirring sauce. They laughed, ate, toasted with soda, and forgot about the world for a few hours. When did you know you wanted all this with me? She asked, lying on the couch, her head on his lap. When you told me, in the elevator, that if you could give a CEO one piece of advice, it would be, smile more and remember the cleaning lady's name. She laughed. And did you? I smile more. And the cleaner on the 6th floor is Evelyn. The one on the 10th is Maria. The one at reception is Denise. She looked at him, touched. You really listened. I listened to everything that comes from you. In the following days, they started getting things ready for the new creative space. Luna spent hours sketching layouts, picking furniture, painting walls, with help from Anna and Yulia, who volunteered without being asked. I want a dark blue wall, with handwritten ideas framed on it, Luna said as she marked the wall with tape. And a yellow couch, for decompressing, Anna suggested. And a coffee machine that looks like it belongs in a sci-fi movie, Julia added. Adrian showed up at the end of the day with pizza and a small box. To celebrate the beginning, he said, handing Luna the box. She opened it. Inside was a small metal sculpture, 2 little figures standing inside an elevator. I had it made, she smiled, carefully holding the piece. We really did start in the most unlikely place. And now we're exactly where we're meant to be. On a sunny Saturday, the new space was officially opened. Only friends, colleagues, and a few representatives from Brightcore were there. Luna, wearing jeans and a white t-shirt with the new project's logo, Kriako, was the last to speak. When I first came to Brightcore, all I wanted was to drop off a resume. I ended up stepping into an elevator and walking out with a completely different life. Everyone laughed, touched. This space was born from the courage to step outside the mold, and from the belief that the most genuine ideas don't need a tie. They just need to be heard. She looked at Adrian sitting in the audience, and courage, applause. That night, alone in the new office, Adrian pulled her into one last slow improvised dance. No music? Just ours, he replied. and they danced, slowly, connected, in silence. 6 months had passed since Krieko's opening, and Luna was still amazed by the fact that she could wake up every day and do exactly what she loved alongside the person she loved. The creative space grew faster than anyone expected. Ideas bloomed as easily as laughter filled the colorful rooms. Brightcore, once a symbol of formality, now had a heart beating with creativity on the outside, and that heart had a name: Luna. Adrian watched her every day with quiet pride. He didn't need to step in anymore. He knew that there she was, the leader she was born to be. Strong, approachable, brilliant. They kept a simple routine. They took turns cooking, doing the dishes, and driving Anna to the grocery store when she refused to renew her driver's license. But something had been growing between them, something that could no longer be ignored. One Saturday morning, Adrian asked Luna to meet him at the end of the trail behind town, a place they'd only visited once, right after finishing their first campaign together. A place she had once mentioned, almost in passing, as so beautiful it made you want to stay forever. He didn't say why. He just asked her to wear something comfortable and leave the rest to him. When Luna reached the top of the trail, after almost 40 minutes of climbing, she needed a few seconds to understand what she was seeing. Fairy lights were hanging from the trees, forming a soft semicircle around a rustic wooden table, covered with a white cloth and 2 plates, ready for dinner. In the background, the sky opened in shades of gold and orange, the sunset reflecting on the small lake by the clearing. Adrian stood in the center of it all, wearing a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, light-colored pants, and an expression that said everything. "Is this?" Luna began, breathless. "What I think it is? Depends. Did you think this was just dinner?" She laughed, still amazed. "I thought you were going to ask me to review another presentation." He walked up, took her hand, and led her to the center of the lights. "Luna Bennett, you came into my life in the tightest space imaginable," he said, and she laughed. "And still, you found room inside me for everything I didn't even know I needed." She bit her lower lip, eyes already filling with tears. "You taught me to step off the pedestal, to listen more than give orders. You reminded me the world is made of small details, and that love can begin with an apology and a bad joke in an elevator." He pulled a small box from his pocket. "And that's why I'm asking, will you marry me?" Luna laughed through her tears. "This is completely irresponsible. A little. And definitely crazy. Very. But it's exactly what I want." She said yes, with her eyes, her laughter, her whole heart. And he slipped the ring on her finger with hands that shook more than he expected. They kissed with the sunset as their witness. And in that moment, Luna was certain the entire world had paused just for the two of them. The wedding took place 3 months later, at a vineyard in the California hills, where the vines danced in the breeze and the sky seemed closer to the earth. Luna wore a light dress, made of flowing fabric, with sleeves that floated over her arms like a breeze. Her hair was gently pinned up, with a few loose strands framing her face. Adrian wore a light blue suit, no tie, just as he'd promised, because, as he said with a smile, commitment doesn't have to be tight around the neck. Anna walked in with the rings. Julia cried from start to finish. And Thomas, now promoted and married to a barista from Seattle, took pictures from every possible angle. During the vows, Adrian held the microphone firmly. "I promise to keep listening to you. I promise to laugh at your metaphors and respect your silences. I promise to bring you coffee on cloudy days and give you quiet on chaotic ones. I promise to dance with you even when there's no music." Luna, eyes glowing, replied, "I promise to hold your hand through the crazy ideas, the hard days, and the moments when you forget how to cook rice. I promise to remind you that being vulnerable is a strength, that love is a choice, and that our story is just beginning." They kissed under a soft shower of white petals, thrown by Brightcore employees who no longer knew where the company ended and the family began. On their honeymoon, in a wooden house by a lake in Oregon, Luna and Adrian spent days completely unplugged from the world. They slept in, cooked together, read quietly side by side. They didn't need anything else. One sunny morning, Luna sat beside him on the porch with 2 cups of tea in her hands and a nervous look that didn't quite match someone simply delivering a drink. "I need to tell you something," she said. Adrian raised an eyebrow. "You forgot to pay the credit card?" No, but we'll probably forget to pay a lot of things in the next few months. Okay, that sounds concerning. She placed a hand on his chest. I'm pregnant. Silence. His eyes widened. You're really? She nodded. There's more. More? It's 2. He took a few seconds to take it in. 2? Twins. He stood up suddenly, then sat down, then stood up again. We're having 2 babies? Yes. Oh wow, we're gonna be a team. She laughed a bit nervously. A small, noisy, and probably messy team. He knelt in front of her and placed his hands on her still flat belly. They're going to be amazing, because they're part of you. She held his face in her hands, and part of you. They kissed like it was all beginning again, like the future had suddenly become even more beautiful. Months later, Kriako expanded. Brightcore launched an internal creativity program inspired by the unit led by Luna. Their relationship, once a secret, was now a source of inspiration. And on an ordinary afternoon, when Luna came home tired from work, she found Adrian on the living room floor with a disassembled crib and an instruction manual. Are you going to help me, or pretend this is too easy for me to include you? I'm the boss now, she replied, laughing, and my job is to delegate. I'm sure one of the babies is going to inherit that sense of humor of yours, and the other your need to overplan. Balance, he said, smiling. She sat beside him, resting her head on his shoulder. You know, if someone had told me my life would change after walking into the wrong elevator, I would have laughed. But you walked in. I did. And now? Now I never want to leave. Adrian kissed her forehead, and they stayed there, surrounded by screws, laughter, and unspoken promises. What did you think of Luna and Adrian's story? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Rate this story from 0 to 10. What score would you give? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to follow all our stories, and don't forget to check out more emotional stories by clicking right here on the final screen.